What's the most despicable thing you've ever done? I was in college. The biggest show on television at the time was that show where Ashton Kutcher would pull ridiculous pranks on unsuspecting civilians. Jackass had just come out a year earlier. My buddies and I decided on a whim to take the introductory media course to get access to recording equipment and props. We planned to make our own version of the stuff we saw on TV, heavily inspired by that stupid title card that tells you that all the people involved with the shows on TV are professionals, so don't try this at home with your college buddies. It would seem a little less stupid after this story. We decided on a victimless prank that would take place at the mall. One of the equipment items we could check out was a wheelchair to help stabilize the camera on moving shots. We told the checkout desk that we were using it for a tracking shot of a character shopping at a mall that didn't have enough money to buy all the cool stuff he saw in the windows. Dumb, but it got us the goods. We arrived at the mall on the busiest day of the week, Friday, around 6 p.m. if I remember correctly. It was 2 weeks before Christmas, so it was extra packed, but we were in Pennsylvania so it was also freezing. The prank was simple. I was going to get in the wheelchair and pretend that I was out of control while rolling down a long ramp they had on the exterior of one of the entrances. I took my position wearing one of those propeller caps and a faded Power Rangers shirt I happened to bring back from home a couple weeks earlier. My friend pretended to be my handler. He pushed me all the way up the ramp. I pretended to be asleep to add believability to the whole ordeal. My other boys hid in a snowy bush nearby to get the whole thing on tape. My fake handler stops at the top. Part of his job was to position me in a path that would not cause me any bodily harm, and definitely not cause the mall any structural damage. We were college students, we couldn't afford to be sued for a prank. The idea was that he would stop at the top, and bend over to tie his shoes, and fall backwards so that he pushes the wheelchair down the ramp. The only problem with this part of the plan was that this particular friend was not the sharpest tool in the toolbox. He later admitted that he had not taken physics in high school, but I was pretty sure a 5-year-old could have done a better job. Instead of putting me on the flat surface at the end of the ramp when he let go, he left me on the slope of the ramp. The moment he let go of the handles I could feel myself moving. This is it. I thought the moment that would cement me into the popular media ethos was finally happening. I opened my eyes and started screaming for help. People getting out of their cars in the nearby parking lot came rushing over to help who they thought was a poor disabled man destined for a tragic crash at the bottom of this ramp. It was perfect. That is, until I see an unwitting toddler run into my path about 20 feet away. I could hear the mom yell at the kid from around the corner, but he just froze. I had not prepared myself for stopping this wheelchair. I had figured the best case scenario was that I crash and burn, and learning how to stop efficiently would just give me a reason to back out at the last second. Besides, how hard can it be? All I had to do was grab the wheels, right? No. Remember how I mentioned earlier that this was Pennsylvania in December? I grabbed the wheels and squeezed as hard as I could. At that moment I hit the gnarliest patch of ice. I didn't know it was there because I was pretending to be asleep on the way up. I slid the last 10 feet and slammed into this little kid that just stood there like a deer in headlights at terminal velocity. At this point, there was already a crowd formed at the bottom of the ramp because of my antics going down. I remember everything being a little foggy. I was staring up at the sky now. Everyone else was staring down at me. The little kid was screaming on the ground next to me. The mom runs over, picks her kid up, and after making sure I didn't seriously injure the kid, she stands over me. Oh no. She curses me in ways I didn't even know were possible, screaming the whole time. Then, she tells me to stay here while she calls the mall security. While she's trying to put the fear of God in me, and succeeding, a kind-hearted bystander helps me back into the wheelchair. I'm still a little dazed but I see my friend coming down the ramp. The lady gets in my face, cell phone in hand covering the bottom part as though she's already on the phone with security, and asks me for my name. I was in pure self-preservation mode. I only knew one thing. Survive. I stared at her for half a second before crossing my eyes, letting a little drool out of my mouth, and violently spazzing in my chair like a possessed monkey. The lady immediately looked around and noticed I had won the crowd over. Any further attempts to attack me would not end well for her. She backed off, and told security never mind. She took her kid, and walked away toward the parking lot. My friend scooped me up, trying his best not to laugh as I kept up the act all the way back to the car. I wish I still had that footage. It's probably collecting dust somewhere in my buddy's attic, but I think in this day and age it's better off there.